During high school, it was common for me and my friends to regularly rotate houses and throw slumber parties. Every few months, we'd kill the whole night talking, laughing, dancing to the radio, and rarely ever actually sleeping. Eventually, just talking and dancing got boring. So to liven up the party, we'd fall into the typical slumber party game of the two-finger corpse lift and/or a seance. Every seance bottomed out with someone hilariously falling apart in a laughing fit. The very last slumber party was held at Carrie's, who lived out in a more rural area where there were dense woods at the edge of her backyard and houses were spread apart. She invited my closest friend Pam, myself, and the usual other 7. As luck would have it, I came down with the flu that weekend and couldn't go. When Monday morning rolled around, I got to school expecting to find everyone in a jovial mood, but instead, my friends were not even talking to each other, and barely to me. I suspected there had been a real big blow-up at the party, but was puzzled as to why none of my friends wanted to talk about it. Slowly, the friendships healed, but it was never quite the same old group, and I was the only one who didn't know why. Years later, I finally got the story. Apparently, that very last slumber party started off as usual, with the typical joking, laughing, and dancing to the radio. Then, it was decided to have a seance. This time, everyone had to solemnly swear to take an oath and try hard to get something to happen. They went through the usual ritual, darkening the room, lighting candles, and sitting in a circle, touching hands. For an hour and a half, they tried to summon celebrities like Marilyn Monroe, JFK, Jimi Hendrix, and Janis Joplin. Nothing. Then someone thought to provide the appropriate mood music by putting on Jim Morrison. Through an entire song, they tried to summon the troubled spirit of Jim Morrison. When the song ended without any spirit manifestation, they called it quits. Bored, disappointed, and thirsty, they broke the circle and put on more cheerful music. Pam and a few others went into the kitchen to get sodas, while the others remained in the living room. Pam was standing near the back open kitchen door, which looked out into the backyard and towards the woods. There, through the screen door, about 20 yards away, at the very edge of the line of trees, she saw a tall, dark figure standing very still. The figure stood quite close to the back of the garage, where there were some floodlights attached, aimed at the middle of the backyard. At first, she thought it was the silhouette of a black bear standing on its hind legs, but after a few more minutes of study, the figure more resembled the size and shape of an adult human male. Something about the way it just stood there gave Pam the shivers. Just as she was about to call out to Carrie in the next room, the dark shape, as if on cue, suddenly began moving towards the house. As it neared and entered the edge of the floodlights, Pam saw that the figure was wearing what appeared to be an oversized monk's robe that was positively pitch black. Although the face was obscured in the deep recesses of the hood, she sensed its eyes staring in her direction. For some reason, she was particularly disturbed by the hem of the outfit and at first couldn't put her finger on exactly what was wrong. Then it dawned on her. The monk-like figure wasn't walking at all. It was gliding, and the bottom of the robe was lightly brushing against the very tops of the high grasses in the backyard. In fact, he was floating a foot above the ground. The instant Pam realized the figure was not human, the girls in the living room began screaming hysterically. Instinctively, Pam knew they were looking at the same exact figure out the window from the next room. The dark figure advanced quickly towards the screen door, where she stood frozen in place, too terrified to move. When the figure was about 10 feet away, Pam found herself slamming the inside door so hard that the screen on the door popped out and the kitchen wall rattled, knocking several containers off a shelf. When Pam regained her senses, she was on the floor of the back bedroom, huddled together with the rest of our shaking, sobbing friends. Carrie's parents rushed around trying to calm everyone down. The nearest neighbors had heard the screaming and called the sheriff's department. The police arrived, and Pam and Carrie, each of whom had been in different rooms when they spotted the thing, gave officers identical descriptions of a black hooded figure floating off the ground and approaching the back kitchen door of the house. Police searched the grounds but found nothing. When our friends' parents arrived to take them home, the policeman explained that the girls had probably gotten themselves into an overexpectant state during the seance, so that when one mistook an animal in the backyard for the walking dead, her screaming set off the other girls as well. My friends objected and never accepted the policeman's conclusion. It had taken me 6 years to discover what had happened that night at that last slumber party. Still, despite my friends' obvious discomfort, I really wished I had been there.